So in the lesson Hydrosphere, now we'll be talking about the relief of the ocean floor. So like the surface of the earth, we have various relief features. Same way even the ocean floor has various relief features. So it can be divided into four major parts. The continental shelf, which is here continental shelf. From here to here is the continental shelf. Then you have the continental slope. This is the continental slope. Then you have the deep sea plain. This is the deep sea plain. And then you have the ocean deep. So this is the ocean deep, which is the deepest point in the ocean. So coming to the continental shelf. So this is the shallow area, which is not so deep, along the sea coast. So this is bordered by the sea coast on one side and continental slope on the other side. So the average depth of the continental shelf is 100 fathoms. So 1 fathom is equal to 6 feet. The depth of the sea in this region gradually increase towards the continental slope. So the continental shelf is very important for fishing, aquaculture, navigation and extraction of minerals. Coming to continental slope. So this is the second part of the ocean floor and is very steep. So this is between the continental shelf and the deep sea plain. Coming to the deep sea plain. So this is the vast plain found at the bottom of the sea floor. This is also known as Abyssal Plain and covers the largest area of the ocean floor. The ocean deep. So these are called ocean trenches. These are the deepest part of the ocean floor. So Challenger Deep of Mariana Trench. Challenger Deep of Mariana Trench is in the Pacific Ocean near Philippine Islands and is around 11,033 meters deep and is the deepest point of the oceans. So coming to the temperature and salinity of the ocean water. So temperature, sea or the ocean water temperature varies. It changes according to the depth of the according to the latitude and the depth of the ocean floor. So the temperature of the ocean water near the equator is more than that of the temperature near the Arctic and Antarctic circles. So with the increase in depth, the temperature of the ocean water decreases. So the sunlight, because the sunlight can penetrate into the sea only up to the depth of 200 meters. Then salinity, this is the percentage of salts dissolved in sea or ocean water. So average salinity of the ocean water is 35 ppt. So ocean salinity is very high near the tropics and very low near the poles. In equatorial region, it is average due to high evaporation. So ocean currents. So the ocean water has three types of movements. They are waves, currents and tides. So ocean currents are the regular movement of ocean water from one region to another. So these are of two types, warm currents and cold currents. So warm currents originate and flow from the equatorial region to the subpolar region and cold currents originate in the polar regions and flow towards the equatorial region. So tides. So tides are the periodic rise and fall in the sea or ocean level. So they occur due to gravitational attraction by the moon, gravitational force by the sun, rotation of the earth, and centrifugal force of the earth. So tides are of two types: high tide, also known as flood tide, and low tide, also known as the ebb tide. So on the water bodies of the earth there are alternate high tides and low tides. So between one high tide and low tide the time is 6 hours 13 minutes. Between one high tide and another the time gap is 16 hours 26 minutes. Sorry, 12 hours 26 minutes. So in 24 hours 52 minutes there are two high tides and two low tides. So there are two types of tides on the basis of position of moon and the sun: spring tide and neap tide. So spring tide takes place when the earth, the moon and the sun are in the same straight line. Example, new moon and full moon. When the spring tides take place, high tides are the highest and low tides are the lowest. So the spring tide takes place on new moon and full moon. Neap tides occur on the first quarter of the and the last quarter days in the phase of the moon. So during neap tides the sun and the earth are in the same straight line and the moon is in the right angle to the earth. So the tides are useful directly and indirectly. Tides help navigation for big ships during high tides. They prevent some extent the freezing sea or ocean water in the coast. So tides help to keep the harbors clean. They help fishing, they also help to generate tidal energy. So conservation of oceans. So oceans help us in many ways and they are the habitat house where many marine organisms live. So considering the rate at which the oceans are being contaminated, they may not remain what they should be in the future. So the following are the important methods of conservation of oceans. Oil transportation should be done through pipelines. Nuclear waste should not be dumped into the sea or ocean. Petrochemical industries in the coastal regions must avoid dumping effluents into the sea or ocean. Dumping of any waste near the ports and harbors must be controlled. Ore deposition of mineral exploitation along the coast must be controlled. Exploitation and destruction of beaches must be controlled.